This competition is about being the worst. So whoever gets awarded the worst investing service for beginners will get this trophy, which is literally poop on a pedestal. Who will deserve it? Stay tuned to find out. These are services that you should stay away from. The ones threatening to lead you down a path of high fees, lower returns, confusing information, unnecessary time consumption, and more. There's one big mistake that people make often when choosing an investing service, especially when they make a decent income. And the funny thing is, they would defend it as a good decision and not a mistake. So we'll talk about how to avoid that problem towards the end of the video. Honorable mentions for the runner-up app award. Number 1, WeBull. WeBull is not easy for beginners. There is way too much confusing data. It's harder to navigate. The menus are bad. It encourages you to worry about things happening day to day. Not so great for beginners. WeBull, you didn't get the trophy, but you're not great for beginners either. Thanks for playing. Number 2, honorable mention, Public. Public is an investing app that tries to develop some community by being part investing, part social media. The problem is that it's a time suck with minimal features. Random people jump on there and encourage you to day trade, and it's just generally distracting. Why do I care that you did your first ever investment into Dogecoin? Why do I care that some CEO of some random company is going to be on there and do an Ask Me Anything? This is not helpful. This is not making me more money. Why do I have to care about this? Public, you don't get the trophy either. Good luck trying. Maybe next year. Number 3 is probably the one that you think I'm going to claim is the worst investing app for beginners. Did they get the trophy? Nah. Robinhood doesn't get the trophy either. Robinhood is the dirty, smoke-filled, carpet-stained casino of investing apps. Trade more. Trade often. You can do it. Bet everything you own. Why not? Maybe you'll get rich. It's fun, bro. This is like a game. Let's keep going. Give us more of your money. No problem. Payment for order flow. Everything's okay. You just lost money? No worries. Donate some more to us. I mean, invest some more to us. Robinhood, I was tempted to crown you the victor of the crappy investing app for beginners. You almost had this, but you don't. Number 4 runner-up, Tastyworks. My God, it's terrible. Who is this for? Who designed this? Who would willingly use this atrocity of internet numbers and design and whatever? I mean, it is truly bad, and I don't see any redeeming features. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm sure you will anyway. Where is the value proposition for Tastyworks here? What are they doing that anyone else isn't doing? Ugh. Tastyworks very nearly stole the trophy, but they didn't get it either. Vanguard would have made it on the list of honorable mentions, but lucky for them, it just got a bit better with an app update, and so it's actually in the running now for one of the better investing apps, even though I've consistently complained about how bad its design has been before. But their products are good, their service is good, their integrity is super good. Overall, Vanguard's nose is pretty clean. Vanguard, you're going in the wrong direction here. You're not going to get this trophy anytime soon. The 6th and final honorable mention is probably the most powerful. I would say overall sketchy investing crypto services pose a massive threat because they're so wrought with scams. There's more coming out all the time, and it's legitimately difficult to tell if something is a real investing service or if it could be a scam because the whole world of crypto is pretty cryptic. Maybe they should have called it cryptic currency, but the actual worst investing service is what we're going to talk about now. As uncertain as many financial products are nowadays, like the sketchy crypto apps I just mentioned, a lot of people might look in the opposite direction for help, towards the name brand experts, towards the pros, choosing some well-known, big, awesome, skyscrapered investing company to work with and opting into an active investing manager to do the work for us. That's the well-trodden path. That's the wise path, right? Premium services. This is the most deceptive thing about investing because it's unlike anything else you buy. Because the more you pay in fees, even if it's to hire someone who's an expert, who has all this experience, the less of those returns you keep because they're going to that guy, not to you. And here's the rub. On average, something like a total stock market index fund outperforms the pros 92 to 95% of the time. You hear that? 92 to 95? That's like almost all the time. The problem here is taking this wise path that everyone will pat you on the back for, paying somebody who knows what they're doing, will get you these worse returns, and you'll still have to pay them. That guy makes the money either way. It would be like your realtor selling you a condemned building, then charging you like 10 times the normal realtor fee. How is that right? You got a terrible building and you paid more for it. It's just so tricky because nothing else in life is really like this. When you pay more for a car, you get a fancier or faster or bigger car. When you pay more for a house, you should be getting a bigger or nicer house, or it's in a better location. We have to stop applying that same logic to investing because it does not work. So the worst investing app for beginners is the one that sounds the best to the general public. The Chase Bank, the Edward Jones, the premium trading advice from Personal Capital or Merrill or any of these other big names. The Pooh Trophy goes to active managers. You make sure you're paid first and we get whatever's left over. We get to be the doggy under the dinner table getting table scraps. Oh, thank you so much. In return, here's your trophy. Pooh on a pedestal. It's kind of cute. Let's do some examples here to talk about exactly how much we're being robbed. Let's say, for example, with Edward Jones, you're paying for a professional. It took me quite a while to dig up their fee structure for these different companies online, but with Edward Jones, I found out that the program fee begins at 1.35%. So let's put that into dollars so we can feel that impact of what I've been complaining about. Example number one is if you had, instead of doing Edward Jones fees, you went with somebody else or with a different service that only charged 0.25% fees. Still not as good as zero, but it's relatively low. Let's say you're starting with $0. Today's your first day to invest, you get going. You start to invest $1,000 per month for 25 years. Assuming a very average 9% rate of return minus that 0.25% you're paying in fees means you're effectively getting an 8.75% return. Still decent. Your total account balance after 25 years, drumroll please, is $1.025 million. Hey, $1,000,000 bucks. That's awesome. You contributed $300,000 of the total yourself, and the other $725K is all gains. That's amazing, and that's why we invest. Awesome. You did miss out on about $40,000 in fees, but it's not too terrible. Now let's compare that with some higher levels of fees that you should expect to pay if you decide to invest with someone who deserves this trophy. 1.35% fees like Eddie Jones, your effective return would be 7.65% now instead of that 9. The total amount in your account after 25 years, $881,000, which means the total fees you paid were $184,000. Disgusting. But wait, there's worse. At 2% fees, like many other pro investing services, your effective return would only be 7%. Now the total amount in your account after 25 years is $787,000, which means that guy not only got the poo trophy from us, but he also took $278,000 from you. Can you imagine? That's giving up 26% of the value of what you could have had to the wallets of the investment bros. This is one of the ways investing is so tricky because it makes sense to get help from a professional in so many things in life. You ask a doctor for help with medical problems. You don't just operate on yourself. You ask a contractor like me for help to build something. But in this case, you ask for a pro to choose what you're investing in. It's just too costly. And think about that. In our example, that 2% fee ended up taking 26% of the value of your investments. That's how this math is totally illogical, and you can't just ration it out without actually doing the math like this. This is the power of compound interest because it's either working for you or it's working for that guy. You just bought him a vacation house. The temptation is strong here because A, it's confusing, and B, you want to get the best returns. So if you can work with a professional who says, hey, I've got a lot of experience, I know how to navigate these waters, I can get you great returns, then that's super tempting. If there's a chance that you'll make 30% returns because this guy did it once for people in 2007, then maybe he can do it again. Well, maybe he can't because no one can get those kinds of returns over the long term. Even Warren Buffett, who is the OG investment kingpin, who does not deserve the poo trophy, has only gotten 0.3% better returns than a total stock market index fund over the last 15 years for this period ending in 2019. So someone as incredible as him only barely beats the market. You can open a cheap or a free investing account for yourself, buy broadly diversified index funds, and do just as well, if not better, probably better, than the pros. It's counterintuitive, but it's true. In attempting to beat the average, pros will pick stocks or funds that seem poised to make a big gain by their own rationale, their algorithms, their software, but the market is just impossible to predict with great accuracy. It's how it works. It's how it's always worked. After a period of 15 years, 92% of these active managers are performing worse than the S&P 500 stock index. This is always funny to me because the whole proposition of working with a pro is a gamble. I would be gambling these massive fees, giving them to him, to put my hope in this person to luckily pick the right stocks for me, and if he's wrong, he doesn't lose. There's no real penalty for him to do poorly besides potentially losing my trust. He makes the 1 or 2% of the assets under management, even if we lose money in the stock market. That just doesn't make sense to me. We should either both win or both lose. What I'm not talking about here is a financial planner or someone helping you decide what to do with your financial strategy overall, especially if you can find someone who charges a fair, flat fee for their service. Having them sit down with you and make a plan to get out of debt, save for the future, invest, all that can be incredibly helpful. So what to do instead? If you don't want to go through this pitfall of working with the pro who deserves the little gold poo trophy, what should you do? Well, instead work with a proven investment company that's designed to be easy to use, easy to understand, that focuses you on a long-term perspective and is extremely cheap, if not free. The best choices for beginners are Acorns and M1 Finance. First of all, Acorns. It is the easiest to use. I have never used an easier investing app, period. They ask you, how much risk do you want? They pick the funds for you. You deposit some money and you're off to the races. It's done. It is so simple, so clean. The design is awesome, and the emphasis here is on the long term. The chart for your projected returns over time spans out into your 70s. They are so focused on decades, not on days. It's great. There is a fee, but it's a small, flat monthly fee that's automatically coming out of your bank account that you've linked to it. And they recently made a change to the basic account, so you have to pay at least $3 per month. It used to be $1, but that also includes their checking account and access to an IRA, which is nice. And if you want to pay another $2 per month, then you get access to investing for kids through UTMA or UGMA accounts. Good value overall. If you want to know more about Acorns, check out my channel because I've made 4 or 5 videos about them. M1 Finance is the next best option for beginners. It's also incredibly easy to use, but you get to choose what to invest in specifically, unlike with Acorns. It does have the potential to go a bit wrong here if you choose terribly performing individual stocks, because you can do that with M1 Finance and you can get yourself into trouble. But if you choose wisely and you're really diverse, you should be okay. This is not investing advice. M1 Finance also has nice, clean design. It focuses you a bit more on long-term thinking, not day trading, and it's simple overall. It also has more features than Acorns, which is nice, and it's still free. So that's really cool because you get more and it's totally free. They just launched a new credit card a few months ago, which I've made a couple videos about, and it's quite interesting. The rewards can be up to 10% cash back, and those rewards go right back into your investing account with them. So it's pretty cool. If you want with M1 Finance, you can pay an annual fee for their premium service, but the first year of that is totally free. Then after that, you can decide if you want it or not, but I think it's entirely optional and extra and not necessary for 99% of the people. Just the free basic service is really what most of us want and need. You've made it to the secret comments section of the video. Today's secret comment is pineapple. This is a random comment that I like to give at the end of a video just so that you can leave something that says you enjoyed the video, you thought it was worthwhile, and I'll keep an eye out for these comments because they are my very favorite by far. Now you've watched the video, which is the worst investment apps for beginners. If you'd like to watch the video, which is the best investment apps for beginners, then you can click right here.